In the 2010s, the internet was flooded with the strangest ads imaginable. They were everywhere, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they all led to one place: Wish. The company seemed unstoppable. It was valued in the billions, backed by Silicon Valley, and even courted by Jeff Bezos himself. But just a few years later, Wish's stock would crash by over 99%, and the once famous app would become little more than a punchline. So, how did the dollar store of the internet turn into one of the biggest collapses in e-commerce history? Welcome back to Empire Hosting, where we dive deep into the rise and fall of the world's biggest ideas. The empires built in boardrooms and the ones that crumble overnight. If you love uncovering how ambition, innovation, and sometimes ego shape the companies around us, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and join the empire. Because every week we break down the stories behind the headlines, the lessons behind the chaos, and the people who dared to dream too big. Now let's talk about one of the wildest e-commerce stories of our time. The unbelievable rise and fall of Wish. Before it became Wish, the company had a much less catchy name: Context Logic. It was founded in 2010 by Piotr Szulczewski, a Polish-Canadian engineer who had worked at Google designing ad algorithms. His big idea was simple but powerful. Use data to predict what people want before they even search for it. He spent 6 months coding the first version of this system, software that could match users with products based on their browsing habits. It was 2010, long before algorithms like this were everywhere. Investors loved it. Szulczewski quickly raised $1.7 million, and not long after, Facebook offered him $20 million to integrate his system into their platform. But instead of cashing out, he turned it down. Investors were furious. One even stormed into his office shouting. But Piotr believed he could build something bigger, his own empire. His first pivot was something called Wishwall.me, not an online store, but a wishlist app. Users could browse cool products, wish for them, and earn rewards or discounts. It was basically the Instagram of window shopping. You couldn't even buy anything yet, but people loved it. When Piotr saw that millions of people were adding products to their lists, he realized something. He had an audience, not just data. So he reached out to small merchants, mostly in China, offering access to this massive pool of potential buyers. In exchange, they had to lower their prices. To make it even more enticing, Wish took no commission at first. The strategy worked. Suddenly, Wish was connecting millions of shoppers directly to manufacturers. It didn't own any products or warehouses. It was just a middleman. A very, very smart one. By 2016, Wish had become one of the fastest growing e-commerce platforms in the world. That's when Piotr got an invitation to Amazon headquarters. There, behind closed doors, he met with Jeff Bezos himself. What was discussed has never been made public. Piotr signed an NDA, margins were literally negative 100%. The weird ads. Still, Wish kept growing, thanks to its marketing. Those bizarre clickbait ads weren't an accident. They were part of the plan. Remember, Piotr's background was in ad algorithms. Wish's system didn't just show you products, it tested your curiosity. The stranger the ad, the more likely you were to click. Clicks meant traffic. Traffic meant growth. At one point, Wish became Facebook's biggest advertiser, spending hundreds of millions a year on social media campaigns. It didn't matter if people bought something. What mattered was getting them into the app. That strategy worked until the pandemic. In 2020, when lockdowns hit, online shopping exploded. You'd think that would help Wish, but it didn't. Suddenly, every company was pouring money into online ads. And when more businesses bid for the same digital space, ad prices skyrocket. Wish's entire growth strategy depended on cheap ads. When that stopped being true, the business model fell apart. By the end of 2020, Wish reached its highest revenue ever, $2.5 billion, but also its biggest loss, over $600 million. The more they grew, the more money they lost. The scams and the fallout. But money wasn't the only problem. Trust was. Wish had become infamous for scams. $1 smart TVs, fake stores, missing packages, or products that looked nothing like their pictures. Customers shared horror stories online. Sometimes what arrived in the mail was just a tiny version of what was advertised. The worst part? Many of these fake shops weren't random sellers. Some were reportedly created by Wish itself as internal experiments to see how users reacted to being scammed. Employees warned executives it was unethical, but the tests went on for months, affecting over 200,000 customers. That was the final straw. People didn't just stop buying, they stopped trusting Wish. The fall. By 2021, the numbers started collapsing. Revenue dropped by half. Users went from 100 million active shoppers to barely 12 million in 2 years. Then came the layoffs. Hundreds of employees gone. Piotr stepped down as CEO, and investors started demanding answers. Meanwhile, a new rival appeared, Temu. Backed by a $170 billion Chinese company, Temu was like a cleaner, more professional version of Wish. The same ultra-cheap products, but with real marketing power and better logistics. Just 5 months after launch, Temu aired a Super Bowl ad, something Wish never managed to do. Wish was out of money, out of users, and out of time.
Download the Temu app and shop like a billionaire.
Today, Context Logic still exists, but it's barely recognizable. It's no longer an e-commerce company, just a small firm sitting on billions in tax credits from its losses. Piotr has moved on, starting a quiet new venture called MAGI Incorporated. And Wish? It's still technically online, but it's a shadow of what it was. Its fall is a warning, not just about greed or bad management, but about chasing growth without loyalty. Wish didn't build a community or a brand people cared about. It built a machine that sold clicks, not trust. Because in the end, no algorithm, no viral ad, no billion-dollar offer can replace something simple. A customer who believes in you.
Download the Temu app and shop like a billionaire.